It's been a little while since we've set foot here in the Hunter Classic for a Let's Go trophy hunting video, so what better way to get back into it than with one of the coolest guns in the entire game, that being the drilling combination gun. We've of course got 16 gauge buckshot and the 9.3x74R rounds loaded into this thing, and I think it'll be a pretty fun gun to hunt with here on Whitehart Island. The goal of this series, since we got our 200 whitetail at least, has been to find a 400 scoring Roosevelt elk for our trophy lodge, and we've primarily hunted for that over on Red Feather Falls. I don't know why, but at the last minute today when selecting a map, I decided to come here to Whitehart Island. It is where we've killed our two 400 elk in the past, and we'll see if it pays off. And not a bad way to start at all. A really nice buck coming in. 165 to 190. He's got long tines. I think he's got a shot at cracking 180. And this was always the thing I loved about Whitehart Island when they added bobcats to it. I do feel like the numbers of whitetail went down, but it was pretty common to get really nice bucks, and quite often just out of the gate in a hunt like this. So let's see if that guy was an 8x8, and he does have the little crab claws, so I think he is. He ought to be a good one. 178.4, a really solid way to start. Much nicer now when we're not hunting for a 200 whitetail. When we get a big one and it's not a 200, is not a disappointment. Definitely a good way to get us going here on Whitehart. And with this lighting, I decided to maybe try something a little bit different. So we've got the buck kind of laying on the rock to give the illusion that we're holding it. Our hands just behind it, because obviously elevated like that on the rock, we can't actually have it just aligned perfectly. But I kind of like how that turned out. There's two does coming in, and I think we may try to get one of them. That angle's a little bit odd, but managed to get it, and we are headed basically exactly opposite where we're facing right now, so spooking that's not gonna matter, and we should pretty soon getting into a decent elk territory. We actually shot 4 cows before that whitetail buck came in, but I figured if there was no bull there, probably not the most interesting way to start out the hunting. I like a 178 scoring buck a lot better. So finally, we've got a bull elk coming in. I would say pretty average size, up to 230. And the only thing is, I'm not sure if he's the only one, but he's gonna end up walking under the tower. So we're gonna take him out. He's gonna spook the 2 cows, and at least we can sort of watch to see if anything else runs off. If they were separated enough, there could be another coming in, so we'll give him a minute. Just go ahead and call again, make sure there isn't any more coming in that we're way behind, and then we'll take a look at that guy and get moving. Well, no more bull elk, but we do have a pretty decent whitetail buck coming in. Not as good as the last, but 140 to 165. And I just think because we're going to leave this area, we'll go ahead and go with the drilling combo gun. Plus, it certainly helps that we've got a bit of a rest here being in the tower. That sound. I haven't shot this gun in forever. It is way better than I remember. But you do, I think in tree stands, tripods, maybe ground blinds, and definitely tower stands, get a stabilization boost when shooting from those structures. And the drilling combo gun is really heavy, and that does factor into how much weapon sway there is. So with a gun that we're probably not super high level with, I'd imagine probably 5 or less, that actually will help quite a bit. Maybe not at that range, but especially at longer ranges. So a 222 scoring bull, I'd imagine maybe a low 160s, high 150s buck. 153, and that was right lung, liver, and stomach at 33 meters. I was really not planning on using the drilling combo gun that much. I only had 4 9.3 rounds, but I think before we go anywhere, we're just going to go ahead and buy a couple more just in case we use them more, because it sounds really cool. Somewhere out here is another bull elk. It might unfortunately be that right there, but we've got a cow coming in first, so we're going to try to get that out of the way, and maybe if there is another bull that maybe is like 200 inches bigger than that first one, it might have a chance of actually getting here without spooking everything. In the meantime, we'll get more arrows in the pulsar, but this might be a good chance to use the drilling combo gun again. I just hope maybe it's on a slightly better bull. At this point, I'm not even sure where the bull went. He was pretty close to begin with, but we've got another cow that we're able to drop, and I still don't see anything running off. So maybe it works out. He's got to be stuck or something, though, because he was not that far away. Oh, there he is there. I mean, still, I think we're going to go with the 9.3. If for no other reason, I'm pretty confident there's not, a big 400 at the back of this group. But I do want to shut up when we shoot just so we can fully appreciate the sound of this gun. So whenever he comes out from behind this tree, it's gotta have the best, like, resounding boom in the entire game. Maybe the 4570 Buffalo rivals it, but I like the kind of depth this sound has over the 4570 Buffalo. Either way, 3 more elk down, and still lacking any kind of decent bull. I mentioned at the beginning of this hunt, this is the map where we killed our 2 400s, and they just so happen to be in the same hunt. Probably 6-7 years ago? But we're kind of moving towards the northern end of Whitehart. We've covered a lot of ground today, and we're just not finding really much of anything. So I think we'll swing up through here. There definitely can be elk in the northern part, and then we're going to fast travel back down, somewhere towards the center of the map. That was where we got the 2 400s, is actually from the golden tree stand, so we'll check up here, make sure there's nothing crazy going on, and then fast travel towards the center of the northern island. And just maybe, we're starting to figure out where all the elk are. I don't know about the big elk, because none of these appear to be very decent at all, but at least we're running into some bulls, so I think there's actually 2 herds here. There are tracks with 1 bull up to 470 kilo that we're moving towards that tower stand behind us. I'm kind of hoping maybe that herd is either resting or potentially just out of hearing distance of this call, because we are not in a good spot, but we'll at least try to spot everything here and take whatever we can, and then we'll get back on those tracks. And of course, first things first, making this shot, at least to maybe give us a chance that the ones behind don't spook. I can see a 4th bull that's not that special. I think that's probably going to send everything out here, but if that's the case, none of those are decent, but something just fled, and I never heard its footsteps. I wondered, could the other elk have been there, and these are kind of hanging around for some reason? Unfortunately, this is an improvement over potentially everything we've shot today. I guess we didn't knock another arrow, so we gotta make this really quick. You can see he knows we're here. Still dropped him. And I don't know what's down there on our right. That could be the herd I was talking about. I'm hoping it's not gonna be. I really don't know what's going on at the moment. So let's claim these 2, and then we'll try to sort out this chaos. I really think, because it was a whole group for sure, there should have been 5 elk, and this will end up being our second biggest one. We'll get our other little one here, and just hopefully they're continuing to the west, because I don't want to get caught up in tracks that are going back and forth over each other. So maybe the best thing is going to be to go back and get on the footprints again, because I was starting to move towards where they were, and we actually haven't had their tracks for a bit, and they were resting just beside us. So the fleeing that we heard was maybe one of them that was the closest. At least we know they're not far away, but it could get interesting tracking these when there were several herds of elk in the area. So still not the right bull, but this was a rediscovered trail, and I think he may be in the group with the heavy one that we're tracking. So let's go ahead and try to get that, hopefully silently enough that if he's down there somewhere just below the hill, you won't hear it. And it's crazy, in the first like 2 hours of this hunt, we had 1 bull. In the last 25 minutes, I think we've killed 3 or 4 now. And there's footsteps coming from the right, so could very well be the bull that we're trying to get. That's a cow. There's just so many elk up here. And I guess we better try to take that out as well, because if she runs back down that hill, that's definitely where the rest of the herd had fled to. I just don't see them yet. If they've calmed down, the rest of them should be. Maybe they're just kind of further away. That definitely could be it. I'm hoping it's not. Only up to 380. I would most certainly guess that's not it. But try to slot this shot between the trees. Being somewhat quick with this is fairly important, because you never know. If they're coming in kind of single file like they seem to be, everyone getting it down as quickly as possible so it doesn't spook the one behind it can really be key in getting them all. But I mean, I just don't even know what's going on. There's a cow coming in behind us now. Less of a big deal if we spook it, and a black-tailed buck. So I guess we'll just stay here the rest of the hunt. Gonna get that shot in between there. Still no sign, I don't think, of the main one that we're trying to get. Maybe not the best idea to call for the deer, but I gotta think he's around here. Everything else has shown up. This is not the same buck that just grunted, by the way. It could be one of those spots. There's areas on probably most maps where after a good amount of time in the hunt, you will get a lot of animals kind of congregating there, and I'm wondering if this is a spot we need to check into more on Whitehart Island, like late into the hunt. Now, blacktail, I always struggle to drop. I had a feeling that might happen, and that was kind of why I wasn't sure it was smart to call in the other, but I still don't know where our one bull is at. Like, at some point here, we gotta get back on the track. So finally, the buck that we actually were trying to call in is on his way, and I think we'll go ahead and get ready for that shot, because if we're not at full draw and he would stop, he probably would pick us out. Gonna stop right there. And that's at least gonna be a little bit easier to deal with. So, got quite a mess to clean up. And by the way, before I forget about it, I talked about this spot maybe being worth visiting later in hunts, just at the northwest corner up here of Whitehart Island. And it kind of makes sense to me why animals may sort of congregate here, run into that corner, then maybe do a little bit of walking back and forth. The one major positive to basically shooting everything that's up here is that if we do get a bugle, good chance it's from the one that we're after. So I thought we shot 4 elk, definitely got 3 here, and maybe we claimed the other one already, because there was that tiny bull kind of out in the field. Or actually, he's literally laying right by our buck. I guess I kind of realized that was there, but I was thinking it was the other deer, which we still need to track. That was lung and liver. 115 score for him, and then this elk is definitely not going to score quite as high as that buck just did. Ended up lung, liver, stomach on that. Oh, and 116, so I guess he does score just as high. So let's get back on the trail of the bull. It was a lung shot on that blacktail, so he's not going to be terribly far away. And we'll try to sort this out yet again. Maybe this time we won't have an entire herd's worth of elk in the way. I mean, this is just absurd. We keep running into all these other bulls. Like, it's no wonder we didn't find any elk elsewhere. They're all up here. But the tracks for the one that we've been after that we still haven't seen are, as far as the age goes, the same as everything else we shot. We're literally out of arrows. We had 19 and we've got 19 kills. And I guess we still have that one blacktail to track. I'm trying to figure out, I feel like we're missing 1 arrow, but maybe it was 18 when we started the hunt? That is rough to see after a maddening track. Not a very impressive elk. Up to 470 kilo. It's gotta be the right one. And only up to 250 on the score. We're gonna go ahead and drop him there with no arrows. We kind of just gotta get that done. And I don't know how long we spent in total on that track. Close to an hour, and it got us a bunch of kills. Just nothing all that special. Unfortunately, he probably will be the last kill of the hunt, though I did realize, literally our very first kill of the hunt, the 178 scoring whitetail, ends up being an improvement of around an inch, maybe less than an inch, on our biggest whitetail of the series, which previously was a 177, so still get to add something to the trophy lodge. We do need to go back to our statistics and tax that, but the amount of animals that we encountered up here in the northwest part of Whitehart Island was just nuts, and we will make sure, but that's a rediscovered trail that is going to be the one that we were after. I'm sure there were big elk somewhere on this map, but today they were not where we were, so let's fast travel back to the trophy lodge, and we'll at least go ahead and place our whitetail. So not a major improvement. I think we went from 177.6 to 178, and I don't know, I felt like he may have even had a chance of being better than that. The subtotal must have had him well above 180, because it was a really nice frame. But our lodge is slowly but surely coming together. I think maybe since our last Let's Go Trophy on the episode, we haven't really gotten to see our mule deer in here, because we ended up shooting them on stream after that episode. We may have had one since then, I can't remember. But I really like what we have going on. And even if it is just tiny improvements here and there, eventually we're bound to have this lodge where we want to see it. But pretty cool to get to add something to the lodge, and good to be back out here for this series, and hopefully it won't be nearly as long until the next one. But on that note, that is going to do it for this video, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.